Those in the Crusader States had been requesting more help from Europe for years, but there was much fighting going on back in Europe, even among the different Christian kingdoms. News of the defeat at Hattin and the loss of Jerusalem shocked Europe. Pope Gregory VIII called for a 7-year truce in Europe so that a new crusade could begin. The loss of Jerusalem, the Pope said, had come because of the sins of Christians. This Third Crusade would mark the height of the Crusades. It was the largest military enterprise of the Middle Ages, led by kings and the highest nobles. The greatest of its leaders was King Richard I of England, called the Lionheart. King Richard was a man of chivalry and bold action, perhaps the best military mind of the Middle Ages. Instead of traveling by land, he went by sea, first capturing the island of Cyprus, which would become an important access point near the coast of Palestine. Once he arrived in the Holy Land, Richard took charge of the various forces that had arrived from different countries. Richard marched slowly along the coast from Jaffa toward Jerusalem, but realized that Jerusalem would never fall while Saladin continued to have power. Richard was willing to lay down his own life in attacking Jerusalem, but did not want to be responsible for the deaths of so many men in a plan that would surely fail. The idea to attack Egypt was discussed, but never happened because Richard needed to return to Europe to save his own kingdom, which was in danger there. Richard was able to moderate a 3-year truce with the Muslims that allowed pilgrims to travel freely throughout Palestine to all the holy sites. Even though they failed to recapture Jerusalem, the Third Crusade was highly successful. The Crusader kingdom was healed of its divisions, many of its coastal cities were restored, and peace with its greatest enemy was, for the time being, secured. King Richard I planned to return after those 3 years, but never did. Meanwhile, Saladin died, and Muslim unity died with him. King Richard is an example of a strong leader, a leader who cared not for his own glory, but for the needs and safety of others. It was the leadership of Richard that made the Third Crusade so successful. Sports teams will also be more successful the better the leadership of their team. Coaches lead their team by knowing the strengths and weaknesses of their players to help them work together. The good coach strives to get all players involved. The coach leads the team not simply to victories on the court or field, but also to growth in virtue. As Pope Benedict XVI has described, sports practiced with enthusiasm and an acute ethical sense, especially for youth, become a training ground for healthy competition and physical improvement, a school of formation in the human and spiritual values, a privileged means for personal growth and contact with society. Good leadership can make this happen more easily.